Josh, it's
What?
you.
No
It's
way.
you from the future. I'm you.
Oh my God,
Listen, I don't
am
have much time. I
tripping?
have to get back to the future. Lots is going on. In 2 years, you have to go to the Alamo Draft House. You have to go see Scream. You're going to meet a friend there. He's going to change your life. Write it all down. I got to get back, but 2 years, Scream, don't miss it. Cafe 80s, guy named Biff, just say no. Got it?
Okay.
Good
I
luck,
got
buddy.
it written down. I love your beanie.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Movies That Make You podcast. Season 2 is in full gear, and so we are super excited for what we got going on this season. Just to let you know what that means, we still have our weekly Prepisodes where we discuss movies to watch in preparation for a new release hitting theaters. I got my buddy POPpaGoss on those each and every week. Those drop on Mondays at 6 a.m. Also, we have our Creators Conversations. This is where we're interviewing people from the business and beyond to discuss what they do to create and how they create their art. So be on the lookout for that on YouTube. We're also doing our monthly watch-alongs where we pick a movie to watch. We live stream our conversation while we're watching the film on YouTube. This week, we've got Spielberg Invasion. We're going to be welcoming our first-time guest, Papanaut Working. We're going to be talking about Spielberg movies with aliens in them, all in preparation for Disclosure Day, dropping in theaters Friday. We hope you also check out our website at moviesthatmakeyoupodcast.com. There you can see all of our social links. You can listen to the podcast. You can watch the podcast. We also have our merch store. You can find tons of merch for Movies That Make You and our friends. We also have a link to our Letterboxd where you can see all the movies that we watch in preparation for the new releases, but also the movies that make you laugh, the movies that make you cry, the movies that make you scream, and everything in between. So before we get to this week's episode, let's check out what we got coming up on the Movies That Make You podcast. Next week, we've got the Toy Saga, featuring Wes Clark, writer and director of How to Start a Cult in 5 Easy Steps. We're going to be talking about all the prior Toy Story movies, all in preparation for Toy Story 5 hitting theaters that Friday. On Sunday, June 21st at 6 p.m., we're going to do our 35th anniversary watch-along of The Rocketeer. This is a great film that we watched growing up, and we're excited to watch it with you. We've got myself, POPpaGoss, and Corey of Wilkie's Movies and Music, so check it out. The week after that, we've got Girl Power, featuring Brian Garner, who is a podcaster for Be More Super and SWAU YouTube channels. We're going to be talking about a bunch of female superhero films, all in preparation for Supergirl hitting theaters that Friday. The week after that, we're going to be having Zeke back on the show to talk about our top 5 Illumination animated films in preparation for Minions and Monsters hitting theaters that Friday. They've made some good ones. Let's see how this one measures up. On July 3rd, we've got our 35th anniversary of Terminator 2. Terminator 2 is 35 years old, and we're going to watch it along with you, and we hope you'll join us. The week after that, we've got top 5 Disney films with Aaron and Kyle from ZombieCon Volume 1. You know them, you love them. They're going to be back. A little bit off the zombie brand, talk about our favorite Disney films, all in preparation for the live-action Moana hitting theaters that Friday. Hope those episodes excite you, so without further ado, let's get to the podcast. We are back with another episode of the Movies That Make You podcast. I am Sprang. I'm joined by my co-host, POPpaGoss. What's up, man?
Hello, everyone.
And we are excited to welcome our guest today. It is Nick Garza, Papanaut himself. Welcome to the show, man.
Hi, everybody. Great to be here. Feeling right at home with my twin over there.
So perfect, man.
Love it.
Yeah, we will, like I mentioned before, Josh and I have seen your content around the internet and love it. So much fun. I just watched the Mortal Kombat review with your buddy playing some Mortal Kombat on the consoles. That was amazing. And it felt very much akin to what we've tried to do as well. Like there was one episode where we were talking about all these chef movies because Yumi and Tuscany was coming out. So we invited a chef to come on and be the expert on how good are these movies at displaying what real chefing is like, right? And so it reminded me of, hey, let me get a Mortal Kombat expert on to tell you how accurate is this movie to the games, right? So very much akin spirit, it feels like.
It was fun. Yeah, absolutely. I got to catch your chef's catch up. I'm imagining you watched Favreau's Chef, right? You had to watch that. I mean, that is...
Yeah, we did.
I made sure that was on there.
We did Burnt, Chef, and Boiling Point, which was like the one single shot British film that followed
with, what's his name? Stephen Graham.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to see
Really
that movie.
good.
That sounds really good. Oh, it's like
Yeah, they
they
made
tried to do
a
it all in a
TV show as
single.
well. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a TV show, and then the movie, but the movie's really cool because they did it in that style where it like follows pretty much the main chef throughout the whole restaurant, and there's like different, you know, real life situations with his like employees and the clients that come in and stuff. But yeah, it was really well done. I had never heard of
I
it
love that
before we
stuff.
prepped for that episode, so that was
Yeah.
the guy we had on. He recommended we watch and talk about that one, so it was
Yeah. And
fun.
Did you guys find that having a chef on? Okay, I guess he had probably some really good takes on how the food is being made. Like, like watching
Yeah.
a music doc with a musician or something. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that is how you hook amps up and that kind of thing. Like, you guys
exactly.
find that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've focused kind of on like how accurate is this kitchen to like what it
Okay.
feels like, in each different scenario. And the crazy thing is, I didn't know this all about him before, but he'd also been on a food truck for a while too. And so
Yeah.
he talked about his journey from like being the bottom rung of the chef team. To then going to another restaurant, to then going to another restaurant, and then being a food truck, and then he actually went all the way up to, I think, what's his name? Not Johnny Blaze, but he was actually a TV personality chef, and so he actually was working with like a top tier
Yeah.
chef at one point, and he was like his sous chef kind of thing. So really kind of a cool story to hear that story. And so we kind of bounced around that story in between the movies. And so he just had so much knowledge, man. So it was a lot of fun.
It's fun that like chef stories have that same kind of thing, like a kung fu movie, where like you always start off and like you're interested and you're learning, and then you hook up with a master and they show you everything and they're kind of quirky. Like anytime I talk to somebody that's in that industry, the
Yeah.
trajectory, I always feel like I'm listening to like something from like Hattori Hanzo. It's always very,
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great
it's a
connection.
cool formula.
Yeah.
One of the other episodes that I've tried to do that with was we did fighting movies with a boxer friend of mine. So he's a boxer here in the Dallas area, and he came on and we talked about some boxing movies. And then last year for Smashing Machine, we did like the Warrior, we did Fighter, and we did one other one that was like 3 different types of fighting movies. And he kind of just shared about the heart that it takes to overcome your obstacles. And so it's a fun idea in my head. And I just, like I said, seeing you do the same thing with Mortal Kombat was pretty fun. But it's cool to kind of get that perspective, because I think, we can all talk movies and talk about how they make us feel. But it's also fun to kind of see how accurate is this movie to like real life situations, and the experts can come in and drop that knowledge on us. So
Yeah, and how does it land for somebody that comes from that side of the house? So like
Yeah.
when they're going in, I mean, we're all being entertained by movies, right? And the same thing with my buddy Chris in Mortal Kombat. What I got the most kick out of was like, Chris has played Mortal Kombat his whole life, right? Like
Mhm.
over 30 years, Mortal Kombat nonstop. He's beaten the game with every character. He knows every outcome, every ending. And for some reason, when I'm like, oh, okay, so like these two are sisters in the game, right? He's like, I couldn't tell you, man. And I was just like, are you serious? You don't know all the lore and the ins and outs? And he's
Right.
like, honestly, like outside of the games, like watching them beat each other up and then seeing how the outcome is if they won the tournament, that's about all I'm in. I was just like, well, cool. So we're all learning that for the first time. But it was fun. I was just like, that's kind of the whole thing with fighting games, right? Is like, you can have a plot that's like a foot deep and it just doesn't matter. It's just like, was it fun? Did they look
Mhm.
cool? That's kind of what Mortal Kombat is. So
Yeah. And
yeah,
I'll
it
have
was a
to
fun
tell you
movie.
this. I was feeling the same thing about watching the Street Fighter trailer right before Mortal Kombat. I was like, that's all this is gonna be. It's
Yeah.
gonna be a terrible movie in the sense of like what critics go in for movies. But I'm just
Yeah.
like, I'm having so much fun with this trailer. I don't care. Like it's just they've got every character on 11, and you're just
Yeah,
like,
there's
oh
so
my
much eye candy. Yeah.
It feels like when they did that, was it Street Fighter V where they changed all the art
Yes.
and they made it real
Yeah.
like splashy paint and stuff?
Yeah.
That's what that trailer feels like. And I remember when they did that in
Exactly.
the game, I was like, I was interested in Street Fighter again for a minute,
Yeah.
And then just
Absolutely.
like Mortal Kombat, very quickly realized I'm not good enough to play this game for
Yeah.
$60,
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So
Yeah, man. Well, it's again, just want to say it's great to have you on the show. We like to invite
Yes.
first-time guests to share a little bit about what the origin story of their love for movies. So we just like open the floor, man. How did you get started in all this?
So I've only been making content about movies for like about a year now, but it is the culmination of a life like a whole life just loving movies since I was a little kid. So my dad, my mom and dad, right? Growing up, my dad worked for HEB, which is like a grocery store in San Antonio. And he retired after 53 years working there a few years back. So he always worked at the grocery store, right? And part of working at a grocery store is you have to be at the grocery store. So he was there a lot. So we didn't take a lot of vacations as a family. But the kind of like cheat code for us for that was like, we'll go to the movies every weekend and get the full deal. So nachos, popcorn, soda. I was a big kid, but it was the best. Like every weekend, no matter what was out. And like, he was like true, like 90s dad, right? Like, yes, we'll go see Terminator. Yes, we'll go see Alien 3. You're fine. It's fine. He's with me. Bring him in. And so I got to see a ton of stuff. So actually, I was going to show you. I'm going to do a thing on this eventually. But I got this from him a while back. This is a shoebox full of movie tickets.
Oh, I love that.
And he kept all of these. And I was going to dig and see, like, what is this? This is one of the Lord of the Rings movies from 2001.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, he kept all of these. I mean, even Riding in Cars with Boys. Like, I'm telling you, dude, anything that came out,
Regal.
we saw it. And so, yeah, you even recognize the brand on it.
Yeah,
dude. It was just like a very, it was just a big part of my life, you know? And so like growing up, I lived right down the street from a movie theater. And I mean, right around the corner. We had to drive to get to it. But in the same parking lot was a comic book store named Heroes and Fantasies that we would go to all the time. And so I was like reading comic books. I was seeing movies. I was living in that for a while. So really the past couple decades between comic book movies and just movies, like it has been just riches for me. You know, I'm just like, oh my God, all the things that I grew up loving are all happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, same thing. And that, like now I'm passing it on. I'm glad we're talking about Spielberg today because I'm getting to share. I have a 5-year-old son now, named after my dad, who instilled my love of movies. And so now I'm getting to show that guy all these things. Like I got to show him E.T. and prepping for this podcast. And so, well, actually, he had already seen E.T., but I got to show him Close Encounters.
Nice.
I'll give you his take later when we cover it.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
He's not there yet.
And that's pretty amazing. I mean, we actually had a live stream last night with some of our buddies that we're going to meet at Texas Frightmare, which you're going to be at Texas Frightmare too also. So we'll definitely have to.
6th year I've gone to that. I love that thing.
Awesome.
Favorite convention.
Oh, it's so good.
We're looking forward. We'll try to connect up there. But we were on the stream and we were talking about, our kids and instilling movies in our kids. And you may not know this, but the podcast started with me and my boys. I've got 4 boys, 2 from my prior marriage and 2 stepsons. And so it really was started with this idea of like sharing these movies with my kids and hearing what they thought about them. And then we kind of morphed it into, okay, let's like, you want to see this movie, like Kong versus Godzilla. Well, there's actually 3 or 4 others that came out in this franchise. Let's watch those to gear up for it. And so the podcast kind of formed from that exercise of like watching those movies and let's talk about them. And then that just kind of birthed into something. And we did that for about two years and a few months. And they just got burnt out on watching movies that much because it was so much homework, right? It was like, and over the summer I had okay, you guys watch the X-Men movies, while you're out of school, and then we'll do a big X-Men franchise podcast. And they were just like burnt out on. And so I'm just like, all right, you guys can take a break. And so I invited Josh to be co-host with me starting January of this year. But up until then, it was like me and the boys. And then I had guests on when the episode needed to be R-rated, right? Like the Conjuring movies coming out. I'm not going to have the kids watch Conjuring just yet.
That's fair.
Yeah, so I have Josh and my wife would come on. So, and then since adding Josh, it's like we bring other guests. But that was kind of the impetus of I'm already doing this. We're already kind of introducing these movies to our kids. Wouldn't it be fun to kind of have those conversations on video and audio? And we've had some really, really fun episodes. So it's cool that you're getting to do that now too.
I've seen one of your kids. I didn't know you had 4. I saw one of your kids on one that you were doing for Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
And I was like, very cool. Yeah. And I was like, I can't wait to show Oscar all this. Because like, again, my dad, the 90s action stuff, there were just so many bonding things. I'm like, I can't believe we watched that together. And he's like, I know, buddy. And I'm like, I can't wait to have that experience with Oscar.
And I got to say one other thing, because I found your Letterboxd yesterday, and I followed you on Letterboxd because I was like, all right,
Thank you.
this guy, and I saw you're watching the World of Worlds and AI, and I was like, all right, he's getting ready. But the other
Catching
thing
up.
when I found Letterboxd is I did the same thing that you did. I went back to all of my old paper tickets. I went on Instagram posts. I was like, when did I see this movie? That I like really deep dive and nerded out on it, and I added them all to Letterboxd for the dates and times when I saw this movie. So I kind of nerded out a little bit.
I didn't even think
I
about
love
doing
that too.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying I'm so sorry I talk so much. I'm super like painfully anal about getting the right date in.
Yes.
Like I have to document that for some reason.
Right.
You guys like Henry Rollins, Henry Rollins, the musician / actor,
Yeah.
he's in Black Flag guy. He has this thing where like every concert he's ever played, he writes the date down where he was and even some stuff about like what was going on that day. Like that's his journal. And he puts these things out sometimes, but he can tell you like Black Flag show 1478. I was in, Pittsburgh and I ate something that day that didn't agree with me. And I was like, I'm like that with Letterboxd. Like if I don't get the day right, then I saw something stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what
Right.
it is. I have to get that day right. So I should do that for those. Because I was just like, did you log this for the first time? Is this your first time watching it? And I'm like, no. And it really bothers me. I don't have that date.
Yeah. Well, now you have the ticket box, and now you can throw some dates in there.
Dude, I got a time filler at some point.
Yeah,
I need to catch up, Josh.
Kevin McCarthy, he does that. He shows like celebrities on his. Now he has his own podcast, which I love, but like they're just so fascinated that he still has his. He'll do an interview with Hugh Jackman. And he's like, I have my X-Men, the first X-Men ticket right here, and he was like, oh my god, that's so cool. And like I have not a shoebox, but I have like a little bin that I keep all my moves that I've done. And that has I think I have almost every movie ticket. I have every concert ticket I've ever been to as well. So I have like 300 plus tickets so I still have those when they were back in the day when they were still doing like the physical tickets all the time. But yeah, I love that. It's like a nostalgia thing. And it just brings back memories of like either going to buy those tickets, waiting in line like for a concert, and then holding the ticket, scanning it, going in and just like having such a great time. Same with movies. Like, there's some movies I saw multiple times. So I have multiple tickets. So I'm like, oh man, I saw that movie, 4 times. I saw that movie 2 times in the theaters, probably some of it by myself, but I had a great time regardless.
Nothing wrong with going to the movies alone. Going to the movies alone is fun.
I've always wondered why people, because I used to tell people that some of my friends that didn't go to the movies very often, especially in high school, because I was going to the movies a lot by myself, just at the mall, especially like the AMC and stuff. And some of my friends just didn't get it. They're like, "You go by yourself though?" I'm like, "Yeah, but like you don't talk during the movie, so like what's so weird about going by yourself?" And they're like I think in their head they don't go as much, so like they think it's you're there
just
to mess around or socialize. And it's like that's not why I go to the movies. That's not why cinephiles go to the movies. We go because we enjoy cinema and we want to enjoy it. We don't want to sit in it. We can go get dinner after if like you're not big into the movies, but don't talk to me during the movie.
Don't you
all
dare
right.
talk to me during a movie.
Yeah.
But after the movie, like something like this where 3 people that love movies get to go hang out, this is the stuff, man. This is the
right.
sauce.
Oh, yeah, for
100%.
sure.
100%.
Well, that's kind of how like Sprang and I met. I mean, like we met. I think I told you, Nick. Like we met at Frightmare during the Q&A screening. They rescheduled it to Sunday, and we were like the only 3 people. Like him and his son Jacob and me. I was at the bar waiting for the movie to start. We had like an hour and a half to kill, and I just started chatting with him, and he's like, "I have this podcast with my kids," and we just sat till it was time to seat in the theater, and we just talked about movies. And I was just like, when I get going with like that with people, like I can just talk. And then I have a buddy here in Oklahoma City. I don't get to see him as much, but he loves movies. And before the pandemic and before my son was born and stuff, I had just moved to Oklahoma, but we'd go out in the winter time. We'd go see, I remember we saw one of the last movies we saw before the pandemic was Parasite in the theaters, and we
Yeah.
we sat in the cold parking lot just chatting for like 2 hours. My wife was like, "Where are you?" She's like, "Didn't you get out of the movie?" I'm like, "We're just talking about movies. We can't stop talking about one movie leading to another movie and how we thought about the movie we just saw." And it's just
Absolutely.
so much fun. Like I could talk for that's why I like conventions so much because a lot of time you're just stuck in line anyway, waiting for autographs or waiting for whatever. So like you meet people and you just converse and you have a lot in common with people and it's also a good networking tool
Oh,
as
it's
you
so
go
fun.
forward.
Yep.
Yeah, people are
Absolutely.
wearing their most obscure reference T-shirt, and you're going like,
Yep.
"Oh man, I've seen that one. I appreciate that." And they're waiting for that moment all year. Nobody in
Yeah.
their hometown has seen The Beyond or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
The
I love
stuff.
it, dude.
That's
Yeah.
Oh
amazing.
yeah, dude. That's
Yeah,
perfect. Yeah,
we meet a
brain
lot of
damage.
people, especially on the podcast that like the stuff. They like that movie a lot.
It's a
Well,
weird one, dude.
Well,
It
speaking
is.
of talking about movies, we are here to talk about some
Woo!
movies. It is the Spielberg invasion. We're going to be talking about 5 Spielberg movies with aliens in them, all in preparation for Disclosure Day, which drops in theaters Friday. I will say it now. I will also say it again. Get your tickets. Go to the theater. See it in the theater this weekend. It looks epic. It looks awesome. So we're going to jump into it, and we're going to start kind of doing them in chronological order. We're going to start with Close Encounters of a Third Kind. This movie came out in 1977, starring Richard Dreyfuss as well as others, and just an amazing, amazing, fun movie. And I'd like to hear, Nick, let's hear your thoughts on it, and then I'd like to hear your son's thoughts on
Oh yeah, Oscar's got a fun take on it. So I'm curious for you guys. So for me, Close Encounters of the Third Kind is a movie that I saw after I had seen like Jaws. I'd seen E.T., I'd seen Jaws. I think I'd even seen like Jurassic Park. Like it's something that I reached back into. I didn't, my dad did not show me Close Encounters of the Third Kind because I think rightfully so, and this kind of gets into my Oscars take on it. I wouldn't have got it and I would have just kind of like waiting for the alien scene to really pop out. There's a lot of building in the
it.
movie to get to where you're going. And even if you know it's aliens, it's kind of a wait. You can ask my son. But yeah, I feel like I saw Close Encounters probably when I was like, I don't know, 10 or 12, somewhere in there. It was definitely a video store rental. And my experience with it was at the time watching it, I was like, cool, great Spielberg, awe-inspiring wonder kind of movie. But it wasn't the same feeling that I had with E.T. or Jurassic Park, where I was like, oh my God, Maestro, when will you
Mhm.
come down from the mountain again? Like some of these are just like, whoa. And I didn't feel that way about Close Encounters, which is why I'm so glad that I just rewatched. Because seeing that movie as a grown man with a family, it is a completely different experience.
Yeah.
And the just watching Dreyfus and just seeing the family ride through this like really kind but strange what do you call it, like a first encounter, first contact movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I loved it, dude, and especially like watching it now that we're so many years out from the 70s, because I wasn't born until 82, so this even predates me. But seeing that era try to wrap their head around with no internet, no cell phones,
Mhm.
a a first encounter sort of thing, or first contact sort of situation, really really cool. So um yeah, when did you guys see Close? Where in the Spielberg journey? Is it too early to ask questions like this? Can I just
Not at
throw a
all. Not at
shot?
No,
all,
Whatever.
man.
no, not at all.
I think for me, it was later in my life. Like, it was probably my 20s, and it was because it
But you
was
waited
one of
until your
those.
20s.
Yeah, because it was one of those movies that I knew about, and I had become a cinephile, but it was like in my high school and college, it was watching whatever was coming out, and then it was like then I started reaching back and trying to watch things like that came out when I was a kid that I wasn't allowed to watch yet. So like some of the Freddys and the Jasons, I kind of dove into those and some of the R-rated stuff that I wasn't able to watch when I was alive. And then as I kind of kept going further and further back and like realizing, okay, like grabbing a list of Spielberg movies and seeing, oh my goodness, there are so many I haven't seen, and like, all right, let's start on this list. And that's where Letterboxd comes in great, because I can just pull it up and see how many of the 1,000 movies it feels like that I haven't seen from a certain director. And so then I was like, okay, I want to watch this. I know it's got a lot of reverence. There's a lot of people that love this movie, and so I wanted to throw it on and see if I could understand the hype for sure. So how about you, Josh?
Yeah, so I mean, I watched E.T. That was probably the first. I don't know if E.T. or Jaws came first. I saw Jaws at an early age, and I mean, even back then, I mean, it scared me, but it like blew my mind also because it just felt so real. I was like, this is one of. I was like, it definitely made me afraid of the ocean. But yeah, I saw E.T. And I fell in love with that movie. That's one of my favorite movies ever made. Just how it makes me feel. I got to meet Dee Wallace a couple years ago here at a con, and then at Frightmare. I met her twice now, but she, you know, I told her how much she meant as like a movie mom, just because I grew up. I mean, my mom was amazing, but like she was the next thing that I like reference to because E.T. just blew my mind. So I saw E.T. and then Close Encounters. I didn't watch it at a later age, but I watched bits and pieces of it. Not too much longer after I watched E.T. But like, what makes me think of Close Encounters is that I don't remember the VHS movie that I had, but my brother and I used to put a VHS movie on to go to bed at night. Like almost every week, we would put this one on, and it might have been. It actually could have been because I know we watched the first Men in Black a lot on VHS just to fall asleep because we'd seen it so many times, so it like we just fall asleep. But the trailer, I'm pretty sure one of the trailers was like an anniversary of Close Encounters or something. Because I remember seeing it all the time on the VHS, and it would play the song, you know, on the ship, and that's just so iconic. So um, I sat down and actually watched it, like, all the way through, probably when I got to the video store, just because we would get it in all the time, trade it in, and so, I would just take movies home kind of in bulk and watch them every weekend, and, I finally sat down and watched it, and I mean, it's a fantastic film. I still don't wanna put it, I don't think it's close enough to put above E.T. just because E.T. It just has so many iconic moments, plus, like, the performances of the family as a whole just means a lot to me, so, but yeah, it's still a really fun one, so I'm glad I've at least seen it because it's an important one in Spielberg's, on his resume. That was his first, he's been nominated 9 total times for Best Director, and that was his first one he ever got was his nomination for Close Encounters, so that
That's
kinda,
awesome.
like, launched him
Absolutely.
into starting to do bigger and bigger movies, so it's an
And
important one.
and for me, it's a different type of, like, of all the alien movies that's out there, this one's very different. It's this kind of like, either aliens are like ET and they're just like here by accident and they're just like they got to try to figure out, and we're like embracing them, or they're here to kill us. This one is like, no, they're just here to like connect with us, to study us, to kind of figure things out, it feels like. And then the government actually has figured out a way to communicate with them, and it's this whole journey from of just like cohabitation a little bit as opposed to like invasion, if you will, at least on Devil's Tower. And then of course the fact that these few people that saw this flash are now like have Devil's Tower imprinted on their brain. They have no idea what it is, and that's always a funny like kind of thing. He's trying to recreate it to try and figure out what is this thing, and using whatever he can to form the Devil's Tower. Um, and of course his family thinks he's going crazy, and he thinks he's going crazy. And um, my favorite line from the wife is, "Don't you think I'm taking this really well?" Because it's like he's being like totally ludicrous, and she's not like lashing it back at him. So you wanted to get out of the house anyway, right? Just some funny kind of interactions between them for sure.
I mean, the motivations of the aliens, right? In both E.T. and this. I mean, because in E.T., E.T. gets lost. He doesn't make it back to the ship in time, ship takes off. E.T. gets lost. The aliens were there on purpose, right? They were
True.
walking around
Yeah.
the forest collecting samples. They were studying just kind of like these aliens. So I think it's funny that like it's a very hopeful take from Spielberg most of the time, except for War of the Worlds. But most of the time, the aliens are curious and kind of playful, you know, and the humans are the same largely. You have the classic thing with Spielberg is there's guys in the woods with flashlights and you're going to get in trouble, like they're from some agency and you're going to get busted. And those guys always have plans that like don't jive with whoever is watching the movie. Like if you're watching E.T., you're going like, well, that's a sweet little alien. Please don't capture the sweet little alien. And same thing with Close Encounters. You're like, I don't know what those things are, but maybe don't mess with them. Maybe just like extend your hand first and like see if it's cool.
Yeah.
I love that he has like Spielberg has the most hopeful take on First Contact out of any of these movies that I've seen.
It's true. The one that comes to mind based on that is I just recently watched last year for Darren Aronofsky films because he had Caught Stealing coming out. And so I rewatched some of his films, and his take on The Day the Earth Stood Still is like the alien shows up, super like non-threatening, walks out of the ship, and then some dude shoots him in the head. And then all of a sudden, here comes the protective robot, and now you got problems. You got serious problems. And then you got Neo coming out, and he's gonna destroy us because there's nothing worth saving on this earth. And then, of course, that's the journey that he goes through to see the value. Now, it's not a great movie. The director even says like, I didn't do a great job with that one, but there is a theme. To your point, there is a theme there that like the humans sometimes are the ones that kind of cause the problems. The aliens are more curious at times than we give them credit for. We're scared because they're foreign. They're scared because they don't look like us. But maybe we don't need to be scared. Maybe we can just be welcoming and see how it goes,
Well, and a step further, like I feel like First Contact or the birth of an AI, like an AI, a super intelligence. I think all of that stuff is a test, and like Spielberg sees it as really like a test for humanity. Like, are we able to react to something like this in a way that is, calm, collected, hopeful, helpful, nurturing, like the good parts, the better angels or whatever of people. You know what I mean? Is that how we present in the face of something so out there, like an alien ship that is just inherently a threat to everything? Or do we present like in Day the Earth Stood Still? Do we just start shooting and hope that we outshoot them? You know what I mean? Like what will prevail? And for Spielberg, it's always you don't see anybody shooting at the ship in Close Encounters.
Yeah.
Not a single person there. You know what I mean? I don't even think I saw any guns in that scene at the end of the movie.
I don't think so either. There may have been military, but nothing of threat. There was no threat like exhibited, like pointing it.
Other than like a security guard.
Yeah. Exactly. Josh, you got in the backlot breakdown for Close Encounters?
Yeah, I got a few things. I gotta get into part of the visual effects they used for the cloud effects, like especially in the one real famous scene. So how they accomplished that was they filled a water tank, like a fish tank, like half full of salt water with fresh water, and then on top they injected what is it, like just paint, just some kind of paint into the top layer, and that's what made the effect look like that. And I know they used that technique in a few movies, especially ILM, because ILM wasn't around for Close Encounters yet. But I think some of those same people who work at ILM or did work at ILM, they got their start around that time. So it was kind of a technique they used. John Williams did the score for this. John Williams, we're going to talk about him again pretty soon. But he's worked with Spielberg 29 feature films. And he's also living. He is the most nominated Academy Award person besides Walt Disney. Walt Disney had the most at 59. Because if you take into account all the producing credits and all that stuff, he has the most, but John Williams has 54 nominations total, and he's still kicking. So that's pretty cool. And then oh, this was really interesting. Speaking of John Williams, so he scored the movie first, and then Spielberg he matched the music to the movie, which is like
Oh,
I think
gotcha.
that's like kind of unheard of. Like that's kind of just, taking a risk and doing it. And I think I read that they've done that on a few of the movies they've worked on together, or they've done it reverse, like Spielberg did it and like a normal composition would do. But for Close Encounters, John Williams did the music first, gave it all to Spielberg. Spielberg matched it up with the movie as best as how he could do it. So that's what we got as the final product, which is insane.
Was that to get the tones at the end to do the
I think
do?
I would assume so. I don't know that for sure, but yeah, I mean that sounds like that's how that came about. But yeah, I just think that's crazy because like most of the time you just logically think,
Yeah.
like here's the movie, and you see those behind the scenes where they're composing the music, watching the movie up on the thing. So it's
Yeah.
just wild to think John Williams is a genius. So and Spielberg is too. So like I'm sure
Yeah.
I can see it happening, but like just to read that, I was like, that's pretty insane. Especially when it's such a classic film, like you would think it'd be the opposite if people tried to do that nowadays. But also Stanley Kubrick, there's an actor in this movie called named Cary Guffey. He plays the little boy, and he actually Kubrick wanted him for Danny in The Shining, but there was a scheduling conflict, so we got Danny Lloyd played Danny in the movie. So but yeah,
Yeah.
just a few fun things.
Nice. That's awesome. Any other thoughts, Nick, that you want to share about Close Encounters?
So you guys revisited it for the
Yeah,
pod, right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which cut did you watch?
Ooh, I think
Do
I
you
did
know?
find the director's cut is the one I watched.
Yeah, I think that's
Just
the one
I
I
watched
watched as well.
director's cut.
Yeah.
Okay. Because yeah, that's the whole thing is like theatrical, like director's cut is supposedly the grail. Like that's the one that like everyone, if you're gonna watch it, watch the director's cut. And I was kind of curious to go back and watch theatrical, but like I was doing too much Spielberg. I had to take a break. But I kind of want to go back and see what the edits are, see what he changed. I'm sure there's a video out there on it, but
Well, they put out so many special editions, especially of that movie. Like, there's that movie. Blade Runner has a bunch of them.
Army
And
of
a lot of
Darkness.
science fiction-y movies. But
Army of
yeah,
Darkness.
it's
Yeah.
there's like four. I think one Close Encounters edition, if I remember right, was like it was a digibook, and then it came with, I think it had like 4 discs or 3 discs in it. Tons of bonus stuff, and I love all that stuff. But yeah, there's just like, then 10 years later they'll have another anniversary and they'll put out this new cut that has a new documentary on. I'm like, why don't you just put it out now? I gotta
Yeah,
wait.
it's like,
for
how many
that?
archives are you going to break into to give me some more facts,
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
I'll eat it up anyway. I was,
Right.
I took some notes when I was watching it, and just a few of the things that I thought were strange that like stood out. First off, the first thing I put was the first 30 minutes of a Spielberg movie. I don't think there's anything better. Like, you get into any of these movies, E.T., Close Encounters, War of the Worlds, AI, like everything we're talking about today. Crystal Skull, sort of. But I mean, he always starts with this thing like you're 30 minutes into the movie before you've realized you're watching a movie. Like you're just like so in it. He just drops you. It's like a cold plunge. It's awesome. You know what I mean? Well, not a cold plunge. I don't think cold plunges are awesome, but you know what I
I
mean?
know what
Like
you mean. Yeah.
you're so in it. And like by the time you take a breath, you're like, I'm in the movie now. Like everything's happening. They have that great shot where there's the UN trucks firing over the dunes,
Mhm.
and then some of the scale that he does. I mean, for this to be, so
77.
early,
Yeah.
right? 77, the India scene where did the sounds come from? With Bob Balaban running around trying to
Mhm.
figure everything out, and they all just point up to the sky. I mean, there's just so many just amazing shots, the layers on that scene, dune after dune, everybody in their costumes, the colors on the costumes. My God, dude. Yeah, this movie appreciates so much better. I think it's funny that when I was younger and I watched this movie, I wasn't blown away by all that stuff because I feel like
Right.
I was watching a lot of movies that were shot, on location. You're watching, all that stuff. The more that you get into like the green screen present that we're living in, you see stuff like that and you go like, oh man, this does hit different,
Yeah, it feels more visceral, obvious. People, yeah, when it's real sets, real locations, it hits different for sure. For sure. Yeah, I had notes of the COD effects were awesome. I thought even the CG, even the alien ship and stuff, it was definitely 77, but it still was like, and it's pretty dang good, like it's passable. It does, you don't miss it. It's just that's what they look like, right? And it's believable. I had like the shaving cream potato, like I kind of talked about earlier, where he's trying to put this stuff. Another thing that's kind of similar between this and ET is the distrust in the government. Like everybody's kind of like, the government's doing something bad all the time, and we've got to try and protect or save or sneak around to try and beat past the government. And then yeah, at the end of the day, there's no, in this one, I think there's, like we said, there's no fear between the parties. The aliens let all of the people that they had studied and kind of off, and here you go, here you guys go. And then we're like, hey, here's some more folks. Maybe take them with you and see, so they can see the world that you see. And it's just this kind of, cohabitation of these two cultures that are just like planning to, who knows, maybe 10 years down the road, there's another crew that comes back and they're like, oh, they kind of give us all this information. We send another crew with them. It's just like, it feels like there's, like you said, there's this hopeful look at kind of a first contact situation. That's pretty amazing for sure.
I felt bad for all those guys that were dressed like Devo. They clearly had spent their whole life preparing to go on an alien trip, and they just picked Richard Dreyfuss.
Right.
That's a bummer.
For sure.
All those guys just got to go home and be like, "Oh, I almost went to space, and I know there are aliens, but I'm here."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Cool. Let's move on to 1982's E.T. And I think we probably are all in the same space as this. Well, we already talked about Jaws maybe before E.T., but I know for me, this was my first Spielberg movie. Story of a little alien that gets left behind, and boy, Elliot has to try and connect with him and try and get him back home. E.T. phone home, right? So, Nick, share your thoughts, brother.
This movie came out. I found out this movie came out 5 months before I was born.
Nice.
So I'm happy that I'm in the same class as E.T. Right. The first note I took on the movie was E.T. is a perfect film. Period. It's a perfect film. Every second of that movie is flawless. Watching it again with Oscar and seeing him like relate to E.T. and like fall in love with E.T. And then like the way that you just automatically ride or die with that group of kids, it captures something inherently human and like in a way American about, like this Spielberg first contact sort of movie. It's just this like Stranger Things, I feel like tries to peel off some things that where we're going to get on our bikes and we're going to, you know what I mean? We're going to get into a little bit of trouble. And you're right. There's guys with flashlights that are hunting us down, but we're doing the right thing. And like, I don't know, man, there's just so many things going on in ET that just reach into your heart. Just like, and literally the hook of the movie is his heart lights up and his finger lights up and he connects with you. All my videos, I sign off with "Be good," and that's because of ET. Like
Nice.
something that I've done as a side thing that I do for friends sometimes. I've done weddings before, like officiated weddings, and a couple of my really good friends, I did their wedding, and they're big ET people, and that's literally how I ended their wedding was "Be good," and like right here, and like you know what I mean, like. It's one of those things that if you're part of that group of people that's deeply into this movie and it affected you in a certain way, those words mean something. And so, yeah, we could talk all about the script, the filmmaking, the effects, all of that stuff. It's all a masterpiece, but I think the story and the delivery of it, it's the defining movie for Steven Spielberg. It's a movie that everyone should see. And it's the movie that he said, I watched an interview with him at South by Southwest, or he was in Austin a few weeks ago. And somebody asked him, what movie of yours would you show aliens? And he said E.T. Yeah. And I was like, absolutely.
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 Yeah. This is, this is the best of us, right? It's
Yes.
it's Elliot's response to ET at first is fear, because I
Yes.
don't know what this thing is. It's scary, it sounds weird, it looks weird, but then there's this curiosity that takes over Elliot, and he goes out anyway, and he gives him some candy. He's like, okay, maybe this is okay. Maybe we can be friends. And then there's that whole cool, like they did it in Hail Mary also, where he's doing movements and ET's copying the movements, right? And so it's the same thing with Ryan Gosling and The Rock. But it's like okay, all right, cool. And then Elliot and him are close, and they're doing their thing. And then Elliot's like, okay, let me see if this is safe for others to be a part of this, right? We've got a good thing going. Can I trust others? And some of them find out by accident, but it's like this, the world begins to open up, and ET is now a part of this family. I think the thing that sticks out to me too in this is like the opening scene, their hearts glow red when they're all gathered around the ship, and they're like, all right, let's go. They get on the ship. And then I think, I don't know if it's said in the movie, but it feels like that ET's sickness has to do with the distance from his people, right? And so there's something to be said about being lost in that. There's something to be said about, I think that's what Spielberg is trying to say, is that we need our family, we need each other to survive. And then as the family is returning and he's getting better, he realizes, I also have this human family too, and they're gonna get me, they're gonna protect me, or they're gonna take me home so I can be with my people again. So there's this fun, this childlike story, this awe, this curiosity. I know that there's the fear of the government again. When the spaceship astronaut walks in the first time, or those guys in the hazmat suits. It's like, as a kid, I was freaked out. That was the scariest thing I've ever seen. But then at the end of it all, Elliot and his brother and his sister and all their friends,
And their friends.
yeah, they jump in together and help save the day. And it's just like, yeah, I agree. Perfect movie. Josh,
Dude,
what
I
are
was
your
almost
thoughts?
tearing up listening to you talk about the connection and like how his family gets closer. God,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah.
Well,
It's
and
amazing.
the score is so, I mean, John Williams has done some doozies, but like, I don't know what it is about ET's score, but like, if you just, even if you're not watching the movie, if you just listen to it, I always get choked
Yeah.
up sometimes just thinking about the movie, or like just how beautiful the score is and stuff. So it's definitely one of my favorite John Williams scores.
It's like the sound of childhood. Like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Yeah.
The thing that kind of piggybacking on your comment, Nick, is like, yeah, the way that the brothers are kind of at odds at first in the movie, and then like ET brings them together, kind of going on even another level, like you just mentioned. It's like he brings everybody in, and ET brings, yeah. Anyway, it's it's so great.
No, but
Yeah, it's
you know what's great about that? Like what I loved about watching it is like you think that the older brother is going to kind of like narc, maybe. You know, you're just like
yeah.
this, like in a movie, but he doesn't. You know what I mean? He like rides with the family, like they're all in
Yeah.
on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even little Gertie. You know, I just
Yeah.
the bravery and like the kindness and the ambition of the kids in this movie is just. I mean, it's admirable. It's something we should all aspire to, and that makes it a great movie.
Absolutely. Josh, you have any
I'm all
thoughts, or do you
smiling
want
and
to
stuff. I
jump?
can't help it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
keep it going. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and you know, we're not just gushing over this movie. This is definitely one of Spielberg's like best movie. I mean, as far as rankings go, like it's the highest grossing domestic movie for him. It still sits at number 33 on the domestic box office. That's all time. It's 99% Rotten Tomatoes, so almost a perfect score. All these
Who's
years
the
later, it's still.
1%?
I
Let
know,
me
right?
find that guy. I
Right.
want that
Probably
reviewer.
the director of Mac and Me. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, yeah. Paul Rudd, just Mac and Me's
Yeah,
better.
Paul Rudd, just
Yeah. It's just mad. Yeah.
But yeah, no, this movie has meant a lot to me for a while, but there were some big things in this movie. So obviously, one of the biggest things is this was Drew Barrymore's debut. This was her first film. For our audience, if you have never known this, Spielberg is her godfather. So she got cast in the movie. Even funny side story about that. when he was directing Empire of the Sun with a young Christian Bale. Drew was on set for that movie. She wasn't in the movie, but her Spielberg was trying to hook Drew Barrymore and Christian Bale up at like an early age. So they like talked. They almost went on a date. So like we could have had a Drew Barrymore, Christian Bale. That
Yeah.
would have just been an odd pairing, but
A Barry Bale.
really cool though.
Yeah, Bailey Moore.
Bailey Moore. That's
Bailey
it.
Moore.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Drew Barrymore, and she's obviously, I mean, you can't see that movie now without thinking of Little Gertie. So, really cool. He shot most of the movie at eye level, so like to a child, so that you would get that feel, which is just another genius thing by Spielberg. But he wanted you to connect more with Elliot and E.T. more than everybody else. So he did a great job for that. It actually got beat out for Best Picture by Gandhi that year, which was directed by Richard Attenborough, who he later cast as Dr. Hammond. So you get Richard Attenborough said at the Oscars when he won that he thought E.T. should have, like, he felt like it should have won, which is crazy. So that's probably why he said yes to being in Jurassic Park, making it more famous. There's some Star Wars references that, his good pal George Lucas, he wanted to give him some nods. So Harrison Ford actually has a cameo in the movie. He is the teacher at when the frogs get let out. The only release you ever see his actual face is the Laserdisc release. That's the only time you ever actually see. But if you listen to the voice, you can kind of tell, and like just how his hand looks and stuff. So yeah, Harrison Ford was in E.T., but like you just hear his voice in most of the versions that you'll see. But if you have the Laserdisc and you still have a player, you can see it. You could probably watch it on YouTube. I'm sure someone edited it, but obviously the famous bicycle scene going in front of the moon, that ended up becoming basically his logo, and Amblin Entertainment was a force to be reckoned with, especially like the 90s, the early 2000s. And I mean, even today it pops up here and there. So I think that's cool that that you can obviously tell how much E.T. means to him. And then just one last thing about how E.T. was kind of puppeteered, so it was more practical. Except for the later releases, I know they put the digital ET or whatever in there, which I didn't really care for that too much. But the original, how they did it, they had a 2'10" stuntman, and then there's also there's a guy named Matt Demerit. He makes the con circuits, but he was born without legs, so a lot of the movements of ET, he's like got the puppet suit on, and he's doing all the walking on his hands, and so he is to thank for bringing ET to life. And we get all those funny moments when he's like getting drunk. And I just remember as a kid, I don't think I picked up on that as a kid, that he was getting drunk. I guess I thought he maybe was like, because he was an alien, it was making him like delusional or something, because he was drinking V8, and I didn't even correlate that it was beer till much later on. So, but yeah, E.T. is just one of my favorite movies. I talked to Dee Wallace when she was here in OKC a couple years ago, and she had a moment with my son. My son was really young at the time, and he was in a stroller, and he's autistic. And I told her about that, and we had just got him diagnosed at the time. And I have a couple pictures of her just leaning in front of him and talking to him, and he like high-fived her. And I just told her how much her performance in that movie just means a lot to me. Especially like I lost my mom in 2018, and like she's one of the few actresses that like is a movie mom that she reminds me a lot of my mom, just like her characteristics and her kind heart and all that stuff. So it's just a great movie. Great cast. I mean, I don't think you would change anybody in the cast. There's some scary moments, but like they're done so well. That when I was a kid, when they're breaking in the house at the end, like that that scene was terrifying as a kid because I was like, oh my God, astronauts are just going to break in our house and kidnap us and stuff. But
Astronauts.
yeah, it's just fun. I love E.T. I think it's will stand the test of time just because new generations are watching it for the first time now with all the anniversaries and stuff. So it's definitely one of my all-time favorite movies.
I love how that scene ruined all of us. Like
Right.
the people kicking in the door. For me, like the tube, that weird plastic tube that they hook up to the door, like to airtight everything.
Yeah.
For me, it's hospitals, dude. Because like I feel like I got like something taken out, like tonsils or something taken out shortly after I'd seen E.T. And the second I walked in there, I was like right in that scene. I was just like, I got to get out of here.
I do not want to be
trapped. They killed E.T. Yeah,
right.
dude. Nah.
Yeah. I did write down the Star Wars references. I mean, of course, he's got the action figures, that was pretty cool. There's actually even when someone's dressed as Yoda on the Halloween night.
The trick or treat,
E.T. Yoda, like, which is great, which means that Star Wars Galaxy and E.T. are in the same universe. And then we see that George Lucas repay the favor when he puts the E.T. species in
episode 1.
Episode 1. So pretty fun. And I think for me, just one other comment on E.T. just in general, him as a character was just so playful and so fun. And like, I'm sitting there watching the movie by myself late at night and just laughing out loud at him. Phone, like it's just so perfectly played. Like everything's exactly how that would go. Just perfect. So
you get a feeling that like he is kind of a goofball even to his own people.
Yeah. Cause he's off to his own thing, right? Yeah.
They lost kind of the dreamer, like they got all the way back to their planet and they were just like, oh God, not that guy, And he's just like eating treats, just like, I guess I live here. Like just a goofball, dude. I love it.
Yeah, it was awesome. Very cool. Well, let's jump from E.T. all the way from, that was 1982. Oh, I did want to comment. I was born a few weeks before Empire Strikes Back came out, so I am in good company there. So you said E.T. I got Empire, so, and I got my Yoda shirt on too. So,
dude, that Yoda scene where he recognizes Yoda, it paid off. Like I forgot about that entirely from when I was a kid, and watching it again, I was like, that's so cool. That's so funny. He's just like, no, I know that guy. It's just like, that's great.
No, keep going this way. Yeah, so great.
And then the people that grew up watching that movie that had that moment were like, oh my God, they know each other. Like us seeing that council scene in the prequels. Because I feel like we all did that snap on that one too. Same thing, like E.T.'s over there.
Yep, 100%.
Which implies that maybe there is a Jedi E.T. Which,
whoa,
dang,
dude,
we haven't seen
we
yet.
Gotta see it.
And guys, roll the dice at this point. It's not gonna hurt.
Let's just do. I mean, it's got to be better than some of the dribble,
right?
Just take a chance. You already took some shots.
Yeah,
dude, you took some shots. Do one of those little 15-minute, whatever the icons ones or whatever. Do that.
Just see what crowd reacts.
Yeah,
it'll be fun.
And make him a badass. Make him John Wick. Make E.T. the off one. He's like a comedian on their planet. This guy is like a straight hardened, like, I've seen hell. Like,
yeah, exactly.
His finger is a lightsaber. So.
Dude,
that's epic.
E.T. Go home.
Oh, yeah, dude. Just watching the hand reach for the saber and the finger lights up, like, cut the trailer today.
Let's do
it. When it comes down, he does like the pistol thing, and he's like blows it out.
Coming soon. It's perfect.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, let's jump from 1982 to 2001. The movie AI. Haley Joel Osment plays a robot boy. William Hurt plays the creator of these robots, these AI robots, and he's trying out something new. He's trying out something different. He doesn't just want to make companions. He wants to see, can we have a robot truly love? And so he creates a boy who gets kind of brought home by a family whose son is in the hospital, and they try to welcome him as their son, and then that causes complications when the son comes home, and they basically have to take him to a forest and let him off on his own. And then it's the journey of what he finds and how he's trying to find life and find happiness and find someone that can make him a real boy because he saw Pinocchio, or he was read Pinocchio by the mom. So just a really touching story. Let me just say this. When I first saw this, I was kind of bored when I watched it the first time. It's a little boring, a little slow. Watching it this time, I engaged with a lot more, probably because in 2001 I didn't have kids, right? So I didn't have that level of like an understanding of that dynamic. But it definitely held its own for me watching it this time, and I felt really like there was a lot of ups and downs that this kid went through. And of course, Jude Law's character is kind of funny, kind of reminds me of like Scarecrow from Oz. Like he's going to take the kid to go see it, but he's also not the most wholesome of characters, but he's trying. And so yeah, it's another one of those where it's like there's hope in this, even in the midst of the messiness of humans in this time, and even the way that they're treating all of these outcast robots is awful and bad and kind of dystopian. In the midst of this, there's this child who's trying to find life and trying to find hope. So really, really cool movie. Nick, let's hear your thoughts.
Okay, so 2001, that's the year I graduated high school. And even then, I guess I was a softie because I remember being very emotionally moved by this movie. Watching it again, though, exact same situation. We're three dads talking about the movie AI. We all cried. Like, there's no way that you made it through that. I mean, between the human parents that are suffering with their child in a coma, which is gutting that situation, to the bonkers idea, let's just try to backfill him with a robot, which you're just like, these are all bad ideas, right? Like, nope, that's gonna make things worse. Just confront your grief and like, you know what I mean? But then, I don't know, everything about it, you just feel like David's getting done wrong. And I know we're living in this time where like AI is a thing that like, it's like large language models. It's not like little David's walking around, but it does alarm me for the potential future where somebody makes that insane William Hurt choice, which, I mean, hearing him read that to a room full of people, he's like, you know what they can't do though? Feel. It's like, why would you want to burden them with that? If we're going to treat them like this, if we're not going to treat them like living beings that you created, you know what I mean? It's just this weird, evil, absent God sort of vibe that I get off that dude. And then the parents too, like the mom, the way you phrased it, Sprang, like he had to be dropped off in the woods. He did not have to be dropped off.
True.
He was dropped off in the woods because there's no return policy for David.
Right.
No.
Well, and I guess my had to was the alternative was him just being destroyed. So that was my have to, is to protect him. She had to let him loose because she knew that her husband was just going to take him off and return him, which would have had him probably destroyed. So that, but
it was a no-win situation. But then finding out there's flesh fairs and Brendan Gleeson's just rounding these guys up, and Ministry, the band Ministry, is playing in the forest, and we're just decapitating these things. Holy shit, guys! Yeah, man, there's a lot going on in that movie, and what about you, Josh? How'd you feel watching?
Yeah, I mean, going back and rewatch, I hadn't seen it in a long time, but I was kind of like you. I remember seeing it. I don't know if I saw it. I'm pretty sure I saw it in the theaters. I think I went to it with my dad, but I just pretty gut wrenching movie, especially as you get older and you become a parent. You like, now we're all three of us are parents, so like rewatching it now, you're like, oh my god, it's terrifying. But I mean, it's a good one. Haley Joel Osment, he had just done Sixth Sense, so he had just come off his like Oscar nomination for Sixth Sense, so he was a big name at the time. And I think the biggest thing is like Kubrick was supposed to do this movie, years ago, and him and Spielberg they hung out a lot, especially up to the time before he passed, and they like worked on storyboards, and Kubrick had all this stuff laid out what he wanted to do. And when he passed, one of his wishes was that Spielberg like finished and did that movie for him. So Spielberg passed on, I think he was offered Jurassic Park 3 and I believe he was offered Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and he had to turn down both of them so he could complete this movie and, dedicate it to Kubrick and everything. Kubrick did have his hand in the movie though a little bit. Robin Williams is the voice of Dr. No and
Dr. No.
or yeah, whatever, Dr. No, Mr. No, whatever. But that scene, Robin Williams was directed by Kubrick for that scene before he passed. So
Well, that's cool.
they I think just kept that whole reel the whole time. And they make a lot of references to Kubrick. The character named Professor Hobby, that was Kubrick's. In the UK, he would go under the name Hobby Films when he would do stuff in the UK. And so that was a little nod to him. They also the narration at the beginning, that's Kubrick did a lot of that in his films. Some of the tracking shots and the like parallel walls and stuff, that was a lot influenced by Kubrick. And then a really big one was the 2001 reference when David's stuffing his mouth with the spinach, and it's like a really terrifying scene because Haley Joel just does such a good job. Like, you believe that he's like just stuffing this stuff down his face, and they say stop, Dave, please stop, which was like a reference to 2001, which is cool.
Nice.
And then one last thing, Stan Winston's team, like the makeup effects, he's uncredited in the film, but he had his hand in like a lot of the robots and stuff in the movie and different characters, especially like when you get introduced to like Jude Law and all that whole world of the robotic people and stuff. That a lot of those were created by Stan Winston. He just was uncredited. So I thought that was cool because I'm a huge fan of the Stan Winston school of like makeup effects and everything.
Absolutely. Very cool.
Dude, it is, yeah. Teddy? Like, we didn't even talk about Teddy.
Yeah. It was great.
Teddy, man, just sitting at the bottom of the ocean with David for all the time. Like, God.
Yeah.
I mean, even that character I was like feeling rough for. There were sometimes Teddy would like just get up and saunter off in a room, and he left the room with like the gravity of like Anthony Hopkins. He just had that, like, there's just a delivery there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jude Law is amazing in this movie too. Jude Law is like phenomenal as Gigolo.
Oh, really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was kind of like, I mean, he's good. He gets a lot of accolades nowadays, but like I feel like he was top notch for a good like 10 years in everything that he did in that time. So he had a lot
go back and watch like Mr. Ripley, and he's just
dude, so good.
He's an incredible actor. But yeah, I mean, this role is ridiculous. He's a robot hooker, and he a gigolo, and I mean, just the immediacy that you care for him, and also like when he's getting swept away there at the end, you're just kind of like, he's gonna be all right. Like whatever happens, he's going to be fine. And the lines that they make him deliver with a straight face, like I took this one down and I read it to Caroline. I was just because she wasn't going to watch it. She was like, because she's a mom, she's going to cry, and she remembers AI enough to go like, I know better than to try to revisit this right now in my parent journey. But there's a line in the movie that I was like, Jude Law delivers this with a straight face. She will make you a real boy, for I will make her a real woman, and all will be right with the world. His plan. Is to deliver this child to the blue fairy, do it with the blue fairy. And it's going to be so overwhelmingly pleasant that she is going to grant David a wish.
Exactly.
That is his entire motivation.
Yeah. Well,
how could anyone be against this?
Right. Well, and that kind of goes to me, that plays on his programming, right? That's that's what he does. That's what he was made for. It's the solution to all of everything that he does that's the solution, because that's how he was designed. And so
here's what I do.
I'll fix it. This is how I fix it,
Amazing.
They come to me crying, they leave happy. So this must be how it works.
This is how I help.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's like a simplicity and there's an innocence to both him and David that is just sweet.
Absolutely.
Even though he's a gigolo and this is a robot kid.
Yeah. One of the lines I remember from the I think it was the forest scene was, he who is without sim cast the first stone, which I thought was a great play on the on the.
Is that what Brendan Gleeson says?
Yeah. He is without sin, cast the first stone, which of course is a play on the scripture. Jesus, when he's brought a woman who's been caught in adultery, and all the Pharisees and religious leaders say, "Let's stone her. She deserves to stone her." That's what the law says. And Jesus says, kneels down, writes in the sand, and then looks up and says, "He is without sin, cast the first stone." And they all leave. They all drop their stones and leave. And so it's this kind of like play on that scripture, which I thought was pretty cool.
I didn't catch it was sin. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
One of the other things I wrote down, and this is just a paragraph that came out of me. So when David is created to love, he's created with the same need that we have, which you kind of hinted at earlier, that he also needs to be loved. If he's created to love, he also needs that love in return, which is detrimental to a robot that is not real and is just an appliance by everybody else. They didn't know the ramifications of what they were creating or the consequences of that act. So kind of similar to what you said earlier, but just kind of cool that it also came into my viewing and my kind of reacting to the story and what was going on. So very cool.
But that's William Hurt. I mean, saying that my entire thing is to love you. I mean, and then essentially at the end of the day, this is something that's purchased. They show the boxes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, you know how toys work, you know how items work. It's shiny for a day and then it's not. And like what you're doing is like morally bankrupt. Like it's the worst thing you could do.
Yeah, you can imagine that like this could be a part of the Matrix or like universe, because this could be part of that. What led the robots to destroy humans is because of that. They took too much. They went too far with what they were creating, you know? So anyway.
Well, and Jude Law has a line. He has this monologue about why they hate us that I took a note on, where he says they made us too smart, too fast, and too many.
Yeah.
And like that is gutting. And that is so real right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Beautiful.
The only other comment I wanted to make about this one is that it's loosely based off a short story from 1969 called Super Toys Last All Summer Long by British author Brian Aldiss. So when I was watching it, I was getting so many like Blade Runner vibes. I was thinking maybe this was Philip K. Dick, or maybe it was, you know, one of those more well-known authors. But I had not heard of Brian Aldiss. I don't know if either of you had before this.
No, no, I hadn't.
Yeah.
I had one thing on there. Wait, hang on. Oh yeah, I was talking about Darlene was the female model. I was talking about the boxes.
Yeah.
And it says on the box itself, it says, "At last, a love of your own." And it's like, it's such a I just kept getting floored where I was like, this was your plan. Like they were just going to mass market, like off the shelf children that love you.
Yeah.
And like, it's just such a monkey's paw situation. It's crazy. Yeah. It's like,
I agree.
Anyway, I also, by the way, for the record, thought the kid was a total dick, their son.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
I wrote that down too. It's like,
and
the worst.
And that's if you're watching these movies and you're siding with the humans, you've got like a moral thing happening. Like that's the funny thing is like when you talked about the Matrix, like yeah. I mean, if the robot in the Matrix sat down and said, "Here's why we're doing this to you," and laid like I'm David, all of a sudden that's a different movie.
Yeah,
where you're just like, you know,
yeah.
I guess I don't know, man. Can we be trusted?
Yeah.
You know, like all of his First Contact movies say yes, but then AI says not really. Like AI is a similar thing. It's a first contact, right?
Right.
Like here's this intelligence, and we were having flesh fairs with Brendan Gleeson tearing these things to shreds. Like it's something else. Also, we got to touch on this before we get to the end of it. There are no aliens in this movie, and I told Josh this. I said, "There's no aliens in AI," and he goes, "Yeah, there's aliens in AI." I said, "I'll rewatch it, but I didn't see any aliens in AI." Where are the aliens in AI? Those things at the end of the movie are hyper advanced AI intelligence things. They evolved and evolved and evolved after humans died. They're not aliens.
Yeah.
So tell me your thoughts, gang. Did I miss an alien? Is there a scene where a Yoda or an ET, is there a crossover scene that I missed?
Because when we first initially talked about it, I hadn't rewatched it, but I for a long time after I'd watched that, I thought that those, because they looked like aliens. So I was like,
They do
when
look
I
like
was a
aliens.
younger mind, in my head, I was like, oh, well, it's Spielberg and maybe they are aliens. And then when you started opening my eyes to that, I rewatched it. And so, yeah, I side more with what you're saying.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, initially, my first, reaction in my head from remembering the movie was I was like, there are aliens, right? And then after you told me all that, I was like, dang it. I bet he's right.
I'll gladly claim victory. It's a big man to admit he was wrong. Regardless, I took the most notes on this one, and I'm glad I was the most.
Yeah.
This one was the one I was most happy to revisit. Like, I sat on it for a day. I went on Letterboxd. I think I gave it 4 stars the first pass, and then I think I upped it the next day to 5. I was just like, this movie just sticks with you in a way. I took the
Yeah.
most notes on it. Like I said, like, I'm still thinking about it right now. Like, reading through my notes again, like stuff like 2,000 years pass. The last words of Gigolo Joe are I am, I was. I mean, this movie is heavy.
Yeah, it is.
And that's, I mean, from the very opening scene when you get a Spielberg or an Amblin/Stanley Kubrick production, like, you don't get crossovers like that.
Right.
Like, it's crazy that we got like chocolate vanilla ice cream swirl in this movie. It's amazing, but it's as sad as you think that would taste,
Yeah.
those two.
Yeah.
And so what comes to mind to me is like maybe a little bit of George Lucas and Spielberg are kind of on the same path in that when they were younger, they had all this hope about how the world could be because they're young and they're energetic and they're excited and they're entering the workforce and they're creating movies and they're doing what they love and they like, yes, there's hope, there's hope. But then you get to the prequels, like, well, actually the Jedis were wrong a lot of the time and the government is against you. And like, that's what you get in the prequels. And maybe Spielberg's also kind of going through a little bit of his midlife kind of reevaluation of humanity, whereas in the 70s and 80s, he was hopeful. Maybe he's a little bit more like, I've seen a little bit more of the world. I see how humans act and I've been exposed to more pain and suffering than I want to. And so maybe I need to display a more accurate view of how humanity treats people that are not like them. And so maybe that's why we get that in 2001's AI, because that's a big shift from E.T. and Close Encounters where we're all in this together, right? So,
Well, he's in his 30s, I guess, when he makes like E.T. And then I don't know how old he is by the time he makes AI, but yeah, years have passed and he's definitely, you're right. Like, the worldview is kind of rounded and now he's starting to, a few of the ideas are kind of peeking through, which is making me even more excited to see where he's at for Disclosure Day.
right.
Honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, the next one on our list is 2005's War of the Worlds. And if you ever thought of an alien invasion film, this is like straight up just an alien invasion film. They're here to get us, and Tom Cruise has got to save his family. Like that's the premise of the movie. And so I'm just going to let Nick, why don't you take it away? Share your thoughts.
Okay, this one I remember really liking in 2005. And I think at that point, it was impossible for me to not like a movie that starts off with Morgan Freeman reading that intro. And the exit of the movie, like the begin, and still, I think that is the best part of the movie. Did I enjoy rewatching it? I did, but I find now that rewatching War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise, present Tom Cruise, like another 20 years of Mission Impossible films and stuff like that, the very concept of him being a dock worker in New York, or Boston, right? Like, the concept of him going to work and being kind of a bum dad, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to crush a couple Coors Lights. It's just not him.
Yeah.
It's
hard to separate the art from the artist, because we see him. Yeah.
Some people I can believe, like Christian Bale, I can believe you as a guy that like he'll transform himself. But Tom Cruise still looks like, you can tell that he's doing great under there,
Yeah.
And just the whole thing. I'm like, you guys split up, like you and his wife. Okay, you guys split up, and like, because Tom Cruise can't get his life together. I just can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Again, first 30 minutes of the movie though, aliens land. or they wake up, whatever, they shoot their aliens into the pods that were already in the ground or whatever. And you get another great first 30 minutes of a Spielberg, where they set up all the things, the action scene that kind of gets you out of town at the very beginning. And it's a long time before you get to take a breath. And I love that. So I like the very beginning of it. I liked Tim Robbins in it. There's some incredible scenes in the movie. But yeah, as far as a Spielberg movie, I definitely felt like this was the slump of my watch. You know, I don't know, man. That's just how it hit me this time. There's some peaks in there. But you're right. You know, I hadn't thought about it as him as a director, like aging and having a different worldview a little bit. But yeah, it's definitely a different Spielberg. Not nearly as hopeful, not nearly as like humans reacting and all. Although I will say, and I did find this to be accurate of Tom Cruise. When the aliens land, if you watch the scene, there's a huge crater in the middle of the street. A bunch of people are crowded around it. This is, is it New York? It's New York. He's in New York, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Boston.
Yeah.
He's in New York City. His kid's wearing the Red Sox hat, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. It's like he's a baseball fan. I think he's wearing a Yankees hat.
Yep, you're right. Yep.
So anyway, so it's New York City in 2005, guys. It's New York City. It's a fresh off 9/11 New York City. And a huge crater has erupted in the middle of the city. There's this huge storm rolling in. Lightning is striking everywhere. Everyone is panicking. Tom Cruise's reaction to this, if you watch the movie, he smiles. And he's like holding his daughter. He's like, it's fine. You know? And I believe that is how Tom Cruise would react to aliens or anything. Because he's just like, whatever, guys. This is fine. I've fallen from space. He reacts in a way that doesn't sell him as a dad, doesn't sell him as a New Yorker, doesn't sell him as a human being. He is Tom Cruise.
He's Tom Cruise
watching aliens land. Yeah, this is fine.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, Josh, I talked a long time.
Oh, you're good, man. The CGI was really good for this. They something happened where they had to like rush filming it, kind of. So like they usually would have a lot longer to film, but something happened in the pre-production. So to speed up filming, they filmed all the CGI heavy stuff first. So they got all the big scenes out of the way. And then they went back and finished shooting all the rest of it, like probably the early stuff and then the ending, obviously. And then kind of a fun little fact. So his kids, when they're watching a movie in the living room, they're watching a movie called The Greatest Show on Earth, which is actually the movie that inspired Spielberg to be a filmmaker, which I thought was really cool. You know, he always is trying to put something, like when there's scenes like that especially with young people, he's always got, I think, a lot of references to stuff that he enjoyed as a kid. And he always just has that like childlike flicker in his writing, I guess, and how he directs and stuff. So I thought that was a cool little nod. There was apparently an early draft of what became this remake, and it was going to be directed by George Romero, believe it or not, and that ended up getting kind of shelved for a little bit, and then this was like the late 80s, so this was like early on, and then eventually, I think in the late 90s, they did that TV miniseries version of War of the Worlds. I think C. Thomas Howell from E.T. was in it. So yeah, that was originally supposed to be George Romero's work, and then they moved it on to a TV miniseries, and then later on, Spielberg was tapped to direct like an actual big production of it. And then one last thing, the Harlan, who was played by Tim Robbins, was actually supposed to be Bill Murray originally, but he had to pass on it because he had just started shooting Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. So he dropped out, and then Tim is a legend. So I mean, he probably just picked it up with ease and I feel like, nothing against Bill Murray, but I feel like Tim Robbins, it fits that character way better. So I'm kind of glad that worked out that way.
Yeah, for sure.
That may be the only time I've ever said like, nope, they shouldn't have got Bill Murray for that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That Tim Robbins role is just iconic.
He's so good at, him and Tom together too. It's just so, yeah.
That
really
door
good.
closing, cover your ears. Oh man, that was a good scene.
Yeah,
Art.
absolutely. So So some of the things that stood out to me as a dad was dealing with the relationship issues with the son and like the animosity there between them. The daughter trying to make be the space between, like try and bring them together. She's the one that's kind of the heart of that family in those moments. But then when everything goes down, Tom is he's got to be the protector, and he's going to do whatever it takes to get them out of the city and protect them. Of course, my favorite when he's like, grab food, and then they get to the house and it's like there's no food in the box that the kid grabbed, and he's like, oh, I'll just make some peanut butter sandwiches, I'm allergic to peanuts. What? Since when? It's like, and he just throws it against the wall. I'm like, I've been there. Like, I can't do any, that just feels like at times you just can't do anything right to make these kids happy sometimes, right? But it was funny. And then another one of the funny lines that jumped out to me was when he's like, we got there's people from there's things from other places. What, like Europe? No, Robbie, not like Europe. I thought that was a funny line. I think I think that once it kind of gets into like Tom Cruise, I have to be the savior and I have to protect everything, then it kind of gets a little bit Mission Impossible. Like we believe Tom Cruise in that part of the movie because he's done that so many times, maybe. But it's that, and then of course having to take care of Tim Robbins because he's gonna get them all killed. I did think that the design of the alien ships was really cool and unique. I looked at kind of the original design from the original movie, and it's definitely an upgrade. And then I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that that when this was first kind of read, it was War of the Worlds was one of those stories that was kind of read on the radio, and people started freaking out and like
Yeah.
calling the cops and like
H2O.
yes, I remember hearing that when this one was coming out, kind of hearing some of those those stories from back in the day. Um, I'd also like the look of the aliens because they weren't humanoid. They didn't look like us in any way. So there's this level of like distance between these aliens in the way that they look. So their violence is maybe more acceptable or more kind of like they aren't humanoid, so we can be scared of them. I don't know. Just kind of hit me like that. And then I thought the interesting thing about the bacteria being the thing that kind of takes them out because they haven't grown up with it and they haven't done it. They haven't their bodies haven't had time to adjust to it. Was an interesting take on kind of how aliens coming to our planet might end up. So that's all I got.
No, I thought that's definitely it's the most anticlimactic ending because there is no solution. You don't fly up to their ship and send a cool computer virus and then spin back to Earth. It's not Independence Day,
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
what got them? Just everything on Earth got them. Like, we had no chance, but we got lucky because Earth's Earth and they're aliens.
Right. Well, and then that there's maybe that's the message that Spielberg's trying to tell us, is that we need to take care of the Earth because the Earth is trying to take care of us. Could be.
It's the whole connection thing.
Yep.
And
yep.
again, like, you were talking earlier that at some point it switches over from like Tom Cruise is struggling dad to Tom Cruise is now in control action movie Tom Cruise. I still never got that from him because he keeps turning to people and going like, what do I do? And that's not Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise never does that. You know what I mean? Like,
Good call.
The one scene in the movie that I thought he's really good in, but I mean, he hams it up, is when the kid goes over the hill and he's just got to boogie and get the daughter, when he lets his son go. Like, he really goes through it in that scene. But as a dad, I was like, okay, I feel that. Also, what's your plan, kid? You're just going to like join the army that's there? Like, that's not how that works. I don't even think in this situation, they're going to be like, all right, we'll get a helmet and what's your name? We'll write it down.
Right.
It's like, no, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
When do you honestly think you're going to, I mean, even though you have some issues with your dad and your relationship with your dad, like, you're not going to abandon your actual family to go join randos, especially after you just saw those crazy people when they're fighting over the gun and the minivan and stuff. Like, you're going to go join random people who might have more than a few of those crazy people instead of just your dad and your sister. Like, yeah, that part was off to me too. I was like, yeah, you're not going to do that.
Like if I was betting on something, right, and it kept winning, kept winning, kept winning, I would just keep betting on that number, right? Like Tom Cruise in this case is that number. Like a plane crashed into the house you were just in. You all survived. He's lucky. You need to stick with him. Don't join the army.
Yeah. Right.
The
Right.
army's not winning right now, guys. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the scene in the dock or not the dock or whatever, the bridge where the
Yeah,
boat
the
tips.
ferry.
I mean, that's some kick-ass
Okay.
action stuff. man.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I had a blast with that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Dakota Fanning did a really good job
Oh,
in this.
she's really good in that.
her
Yeah.
the way she's directed, you know, the way that the energy she's giving in those scenes where she's screaming and she's angry is like on point. So great.
I liked her line, you need TiVo, right? You should get TiVo.
Exactly. It really fits today's world.
I was
2026.
like, holy shit, nobody's going to understand this movie.
Yeah. One other side extra that's actually a fairly good actress now, Amy Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
She was in The Office. She was also in that one with Ben Affleck directed. His brother starred in
Fargo?
it. No, it was
Oh,
the one before that.
Gone Baby Gone.
Yeah, Gone
Before
Baby
that.
Gone.
Is it Gone Baby Gone? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was that had Casey in it.
So
Yeah.
Amy was in that as the lead actress. So she was his next door neighbor in the opening scene when they walk out in the backyard and we're looking at the
Oh,
lightning.
yeah.
So I thought that was pretty wild to see her.
I
That
did
was
not
one of the things
notice
I
her.
put on this movie too, was like seeing all of these different side characters being like people that I've seen in bigger roles later. You know, so that's always kind of fun when you go back and watch some of these old either TV shows or movies and you're like, oh, I remember him. Oh, he's starring in this next week or whatever. So that was kind of fun. Cool. So I gotta ask, what's your favorite Tim Robbins movie, Nick? Do you have a favorite Tim Robbins movie?
Hudsucker Proxy.
That was number 2 in my head. That was number 2.
I mean, Shawshank's incredible. Like, it's either one of those two, but for me, it's Hudsucker Proxy because that movie's just
Oh, man. We used to get asked for that a lot at the video store.
Yeah.
great movie. It's like an all-time cult classic movie, and it's one of those movies that you see and you're just like, if you like it, you're like, I'm gonna love this movie forever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another one that stands out to me is Arlington Road. You ever seen that?
Very good movie.
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges?
Yeah, Jeff Bridges. It's one of those movies that has that kind of great, huge twist at the end. Kind of those early 2000s movies were kind of doing that pretty heavily. And it just like caught me off guard and was wild and crazy. So
The primal fear era of cinema where every movie ends with a what? Yeah, it's great.
That was amazing.
Our
Very
Usual
cool.
Suspects, that's another one that has the...
Yeah.
Yep. It's good.
Yeah, I want to rewatch Arlington Road now. I need to do a deep dive on Jeff Bridges and just rewatch everything he's ever done.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can tell from everything here, but I love Jeff Bridges, man.
It's a long I mean, he's so good.
Well, I was thinking even the Tron, they look like the bikes in AI look like Tron bikes. You know, I was like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, in this future we got light cycles. Like, come on, why can't my current reality have that?
Yeah, exactly.
So cool.
All right, let's going to get to our last movie that we're going to discuss today, and that is 2008's Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
There's aliens in this movie.
There is aliens in this movie.
Do you guys mind? Do you guys mind if I go first? Because I got to leave in 5 minutes to go pick up my son. I didn't realize what time it was. So
all good.
All good, dude.
I don't have too much, but yeah, this one was fun. It was fun to go back and rewatch. I forgot how. I think they did it on purpose, but I forgot how like the fight scenes are like they add in those sound effects, like almost like you're watching, you know, the old Adam West Batman.
Batman.
You can hear the punches like really loudly, and it's just there's no blood, there's no cuts. So, like even when Shia's getting beat up by those like teenage kids, like no blood, nothing. But it was such a fun. I mean, I still had a good time rewatching it. Harrison Ford did like all his own stunts for this one, and he had a reason for that because he said he has a quote. He said, he said people have a paranoia about aging because like you know people are always worried about like I'm getting too old. But he said my ambition in action is to have the audience look straight in my face, not the back of a stuntman's head. I hope to continue that no matter how old I get. So. You know, like it goes back to him doing. I still haven't seen Dial of Destiny, but like people complain about movies all the time in cinema, and like we're not thankful that like Harrison Ford is so old and he's like, I'll do one more Indiana Jones. Like we should be, no matter what you think of the actual movie, like that's really badass that Harrison Ford's like, I'll do it. Um, so I just love that he did like all his own stunts, has a great cast. I mean, Kate Blanchett is a legend. I'm actually a big Shia fan. I think Shia is a tremendously talented individual. I know he's got his mental health issues and stuff, but he is like, I mean, there's not many movies I can say that he's had a bad performance in. Like he's just done some awesome movies, and he has more cheesy moments in this movie, but like it's still fun. And then just one last thing, the girl who punches Shia at the diner is actually Sasha Spielberg,
Oh wow.
Steven's gra- uh granddaughter, or maybe it's his daughter, his actual daughter. But yeah, she one of the women related to Spielberg is she's the one who punches Shia at the diner scene. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. It was fun to see, Harrison Ford. There's so many absurd things like the fridge in the beginning of the movie, just him getting in that and getting launched and like no bruises, no cuts, just falling out like you did nothing happen.
No
Um,
radiation, no
no
poisoning.
radiation
He's
poisoning.
fine.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool the way they set the scene up was cool, like the alarm going off and like I mean, I would be crapping my pants like, "Oh my god, we gotta get out of here." But like seeing like the fallout town, fake town and all that is pretty cool. But yeah, overall fun to go back and rewatch. Definitely not my favorite of the franchise. I mean, it's tough to beat the early ones. So overall, it was a good time.
Very cool. Nick, let me share your thoughts. I can tell you're eager to share your disdain, it seems. Is that what
No,
I'm seeing? No.
I
Okay.
just wanted to cover it because I was like, if we're gonna
Yeah.
do this, we're gonna do every Alien movie, and there's an alien at the end of that movie, straight up. And so we had to cover it.
All right, guys, I'm gonna take off. Nick,
Yeah, man.
thank you so
Josh,
much, my brother.
I'll see you
Yeah,
this weekend.
for sure,
Yeah,
buddy. But yeah,
absolutely.
thank you for joining us. Appreciate
The
it.
best, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, see you, buddy.
Later, dude. Yeah, dude, I don't hate this movie. I mean, it's clearly Spielberg having fun. And the thing that sucks, that has to suck about being Steven Spielberg, is you've made so many great movies that every time you come out with something, there is a certain excitement and a certain level that comes with that, where we go like, okay, this is going to be at least this.
Mhm.
And I feel like the worst movies he makes, he's still learning. He's still trying new stuff. The difference is like, somebody like me making some fun stuff for YouTube or whatever, I can try different things. And if it doesn't work, well, whatever. 20 views. Millions of people are going to see this movie every time Spielberg does something. The toys that he's playing with are like a huge scale. So you see him do a lot of digital stuff in this movie, and it doesn't look as good as real sets. And I think you see him kind of work his way back after this.
Mhm.
I think that kind of the more fantastical nature of the stuff in the movie, even down to the Biff Pow punches, that's all him trying a different coat of paint on Indy. What if I leaned a little bit harder to that whole serial, idea that him and George cooked up back in the day? So I feel like he's trying. I feel like he's trying stuff differently just to say like, okay, well, even though I'm still Steven Spielberg directing an Indiana Jones movie, can I make this new for me? And will that make it better? He made it new. He didn't make it better. He
Yeah.
did put an alien in it. He did get a flying saucer in it. And I feel like in some way, like in some sort of weird bet that he must have with Lucas is like, there's no way you could do, you're not going to do a spaceship in an Indiana Jones movie. He's like, bet, like I'll do it. And he does.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I mean, have you seen Dial of Destiny?
Yeah. Yeah. I did.
So they do another where they lean even harder in that movie, where he literally time travels and stuff like that. And it's like, you know what, guys, like we've already made Raiders of the Lost Ark. We've made all of these movies. So like, if you're going to make another one, it's okay. I'll allow it to be more fantastic and all that stuff at this point. I can see it for what it is, and I'm not gonna let it weigh down the other movies
Exactly.
because it's not as grounded as something as like, I don't know, Raiders or like Last Crusade. I mean, Temple of Doom's kind of goofy, but like, I don't know, man. As far as the
Yeah.
alien goes in the movie, I thought it looked cool as hell. I liked the room full of crystal alien corpses, skeletons that turn into one. I thought that was cool. I thought the flying saucer, the classic flying saucer, was cool. Although I thought it would have been cooler if it kind of nodded to the Close Encounter ship or nodded to some of his other stuff. He clearly didn't want to do that because he could have, and that would have been cute. I don't know, man. I had fun watching it. Kate Blanchett's in it. There's so much talent in the movie too that you're just like, all these people are good. They must have had fun time making this.
Yeah.
It's silly. I can't believe it exists. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm glad I got two other guys to watch it with me.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. I will say I enjoyed this more this time than I did the first time I watched it.
Same.
And part of that was because expectations, right? Like you go in knowing like, this isn't going to be Raiders, but let me just have another journey with another excited adventure with Indiana Jones and see what happens. And so it had been enough time. I probably haven't seen it since 2008.
I was going to ask, have you watched it again since? I had not.
Yeah, exactly.
And I had no plans to ever watch it again until we were doing this. And then I was like, okay, I'll give it one more spin. I was like, this is fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I do like that he had all the homages to the indie style, like the film, the shadow of him putting on the hat at the beginning. I love the anthill at the front. That's the Paramount, like these things that we just loved about the ones. And he's like kind of playing again. He's having some fun. He's just noodling around. Like Josh said, the big mushroom cloud moment was a really cool visual. I thought that even if it doesn't make any sense, it still looked really cool.
On a storyboard, he sold that for sure.
Yeah,
he was like, look at how cool this is going to look.
Yeah. And like you said, I agree with you. The CG was a little bit heavy-handed at points, especially the jungle scene.
Monkeys.
But, and then one of the characters, I think it was Indy, said, "I've got a bad feeling about this," which of course is a nice little homage to his buddy George Lucas. But yeah, and it also is playing in. I saw that like when you talked about the restaurant scene. It's like the greasers versus the college boys. It's like this kind of 50s, kind of thing, like playing around in that, giving us those classic archetypes of that era. So it was different. I think we grew up when Indy's fighting Nazis, and that has a feel that this just didn't have, and that's okay. We can have some fun with it, dive a little bit differently into it, and so I think that's all I got to say about it too. But
so are we going to talk about Disclosure Day at all? Or are we going to talk about?
No, man, absolutely. Share. What are your thoughts for? What are you excited for?
Well, I saw it. No, I'm just kidding. That would be amazing. I'm really excited for it, but I'm curious because like this movie, right? Disclosure Day coming out when like a year after all of that UFO stuff. And I wish I did more like research on it.
Yeah.
But there's all this stuff that's come out in the past year that's been kind of like flying, low radar because like news has just gotten like bonkers, right? There's just so much stuff happening all the time. I feel like there was a time, especially like in the early years of the X-Files, where everything would have stopped if somebody was like, hey guys, there's like confirmed reports of like craft that we can't figure out. And like that dropped like last year or the year before?
Right.
And all these people like from the Air Force and NASA are like on record in front of Congress saying like, yeah, we saw things. And so now Spielberg's releasing Disclosure Day, which to me, all of this to say that it feels like that guy kind of knew all along. And I don't know. But I feel like whatever this movie is, I'm hoping, and I'm very curious to see what his lesson for us is in this, this first encounter sort of situation, first contact sort of situation.
So for me, there's a line in the trailer that hit me, and it might have hit. I consider myself a Christian. I grew up in the church, all that stuff. Of course, things are complicated now with that word and what that means, but I still kind of identify as that to a certain extent. But there's a line
whatever system you have that gets you through, man. By all means, you're not going to bum me out.
Yeah. But there's a line that the nun says to the little girl that I find fascinating and beautiful. That I can see some of my other compatriots that might be on a different side of this whole Christianity thing would find as being blasphemous. Which is
right.
Do you think that he would have created just for us? Right? Like there's this there's this epicness that the nun is trying to say that like, no, there's more. And isn't it a better, like in my mind, this is the way I've thought about it. There's a better story. Like it's called the good news. That's what it's supposed to be. So if it's not good news, it's probably not true. It's probably not true Christianity, whatever you want to call it, right? So it's not. So there's this message that I get from the trailer that it seems like we're going to be diving a little bit into that. It's probably not going to be the whole thrust of the film, but that line in particular kind of gave me like this kind of excitement of like, oh yes, let's get that message that there might be more to the story than just what we think about our little group. Maybe there's something bigger and more beautiful out there. Maybe we're going to get a little bit of that 1980s, that 1970s version of that kind of first contact. Maybe we're going to see a little bit more hope in this Spielberg story than we have in recent years. So that one line gave me all that, and it's just beautiful. It looks cool, like when they're walking up with the deer and the house is lighted. I mean, that looks like hope. That looks like joy. That looks
takes me back to Close Encounters, where the lights are coming in through the windows at the farm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, for me, the shot of the car flying through that porch is just so epic Spielberg. And again, it's a blacked out SUV blasting through a farmhouse. There's those jerks with their flashlights from the government again. Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's classic Spielberg. Yeah. I think that, I mean, I'm not a person that has faith, but the concept of the test of morality, right, of first contact, right, I think that there are so many people that do, right? And so I think that watching that kind of, people that have that as their moral center, right? Watching them try to navigate the inherent jealousy of finding out because I mean, you'd still believe, right? As somebody that has faith, you would still believe, but you would believe that these were also a creation of your deity, right? And so I think that there are some people that would believe that. And I think there are some people that would believe otherwise. They would say like, no. And that's the inherent thing about the first person that alien meets, right? Is it the person that shoots at him and says like, no, we're chosen, we're the ones? Yeah. Or is it the person that says like, we have been alone the entire time we've been alive, humanity. And you are the only other person, the only other being that has ever come to check on us. Yeah. Like, first off, like, welcome. Do you want to give me a hug?
Welcome.
Second off, let's trade notes. Do you want to try pizza? Like, what do you want to do? Like, I feel like all of this stuff and the Spielberg movies do a really good job with humans experiencing awe and stuff like that. But I feel like if there ever was a time for humanity to coalesce around something, right? Like to come together, it would be now. You know what I mean? It's like so needed. And I feel like that kind of reaction of like, hey man, you're not alone. Like if there was some adult in the room that just said like, hey guys, you're good. Like us too. Like we've been through crazy. Like, I feel like this is the most open we've been. We've seen so much crazy that meeting aliens at this point would probably be a big positive thing for all of us, bring the energy together and unite it. And sure, you'd have a bunch of people that would be bummed out and freaked out. But I think you'd also have a lot of us like us who would be curious, excited, welcoming, relieved. And Spielberg is the best deliverer of that message. The good news of Steven Spielberg is, it's, at the end of the day, these are people with families and other beings they care about, that they feel like E.T., right? They feel sick if they're not close, if they're not connected. And so, I think bridging that intergalactic gap. Yeah. Dude, I could talk about this shit all day. I don't know. Dude. I'm really, really excited to see what he does with the movie. It also looks like there's some sort of weird government agency that's using like mind control, and they're trying to like use it to like neural white people, right? That's kind of the vibe that you're getting off that.
Yeah, and the one I'm blanking on the actor's name, but he actually embodies goes into someone else's consciousness and is controlling them. Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
he can like project. Yeah, he's like in the room. That's some sort of like other space technology that I'm so curious like what that is. But it looked like a Men in Black room where they're using it to like squash people that are finding out about aliens, right? Yeah. I don't know, dude. Yeah. They also picked a really good job. I like Arrival, not a Spielberg movie, but Arrival.
No, yeah, absolutely. Great movie.
I love an alien that doesn't work like anything we understand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the aliens in that movie are probably, they're up there with like, I liked Annihilation a lot too. Like I like an
Mhm.
alien that is just so other that it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like the
Mhm.
one that works outside of time and Arrival, I think is a beautiful like plot device and story and all of that stuff. But yeah, I'm super curious, like the way they make Emily Blunt talk with that clicking and clacking and
Mhm.
stuff. You know, it's
Yeah.
inherently scary sounding,
Right.
but like I like the idea that we don't know what that thing's saying, that
Mhm.
it chose this time to connect. And again, how would we react to that? Would we be understanding and go like, well, if I showed up on Mars and started talking in English, they would probably be freaked out too, especially if I was doing stuff like this.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a real interesting movie to watch. I can't wait to see what it says about how Spielberg at this point, 79, right? He's almost 80.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you feel about humanity now, dude? In 2026. Please
Absolutely.
help.
Yeah. Oh man. Dude, I can't tell you, like, I was hoping this would be a fun episode. I didn't think it would be this much fun, honestly. This has been a pleasure. I really appreciate you being on the
I can't wait
podcast.
to talk to you this
Yeah,
week. Yeah.
it's going to be great, and I hope to have you on the podcast again. I think you, man, you got a wealth of knowledge, and the way that you think about movies is the way that we think about movies, and it's this other level. I was telling my wife about, like, I don't know if you've caught any of the clips from our Star Wars episodes, but these are the two guys we have on there are two in their 20s guys that they're just fans of Star Wars, but because they're fans of Star Wars and they love the story so much, they've thought so deeply about this that they have all of this story and this narrative that they know, and it's like informed their life and all this stuff. And I'm just like, Star Wars fans they hit different, man. Like they aren't just like in it for the popcorn, man. They're in it for like, no, this is Luke and Vader, this is Father, and this is like there's so much going on internally with, like, they're all over it. And they've been formed, Josh and I, about our knowledge. I mean, it's been exciting. I feel the same way about this. Like you dropped some knowledge bombs on us, man.
Oh, I'm flattered. Same. To talk to people like that and talk to people like you guys. It's been a blast hanging out. I can't wait to talk. I could keep going
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, to talk movies with people, especially people that feel that deeply about them, right? Like when
Mhm.
you're talking about the Star Wars guys that are like 20. Like I did this thing a while back. I think that was back when I was on TikTok, where I was like talking about how I see the movie theater as like it's kind of like an empathy gym, right? So it's like a
100%.
place that we go to watch stories play out, and then when we leave, right, we all go out to the lobby, and like how you met Josh, right? You're talking about this thing that you saw, and you're kind of unlocking stuff that you feel, and you're unlocking the way that other people feel about stuff. And it's like it's a form of connection for somebody like me who doesn't have faith. That is my thing. That is how I take in and put out the world. Is these are the stories that I use to kind of form the narrative that makes it all make sense to me. You know,
Absolutely.
and I think Spielberg is a teacher in that, you know, and these movies have informed me in that way. And same with Star Wars, dude, to such an extent. I mean, it's a very simple but easy thing, the Force, right?
Mhm.
And good and evil, and your your Yoda type character and stuff like that. I feel like there's a lot of parallels in films like that to the way people the experiences that people have in their lives. So I mean, yeah, man, I could talk about this stuff all day. It's been a blast hanging out with you guys. I'm so glad that you gave me the Spielberg episode
Good.
because this was a
Yeah.
fun revisit. I also rewatched Minority Report for absolutely no reason. First 30
Yes.
minutes, no aliens in that movie, but another one. First 30 minutes of
Yeah.
that movie, you're just like right in it.
Right in it.
And so I guarantee you, this, if there's one thing we take away from this, when we all watch Disclosure Day, check out when you first get a break.
Right.
Because I bet it's around 25, 30 minutes.
Absolutely.
If he's still doing this thing.
That's awesome.
So
That's
I'll see
awesome.
you on Saturday, I guess. We come up on Friday.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I think you got Scream tickets Sunday night, right?
I did. And you guys are
so
going to that too, right?
Josh and I are going to that. Yeah. So,
dude, I can't
maybe
wait.
we'll sit together,
Lillard
yeah.
and Ulrich doing. Yeah, I'd love to sit with you guys because it's Texas theater. There's no assigned
Yep.
seating.
Yep. Yeah.
We're
Pretty
gonna do
awesome. Before we let you go, man, do you have anything you want to promote from your channel or anything like that before, so our audience can find you and know what you got coming?
The channel is I'm at Papanaut on YouTube. I'm at Papanaut Working on Instagram. Yeah, that's the only two places that I am right now. Oh, exciting news for this weekend. If you are if the people watch, like if you guys are going to be going to the trailer show at Texas Premiere Weekend,
Okay.
you know how they do that fake trailer show? Me and my buddy Raj made one and we got in.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
So for the very first time, I've made like a little short thing.
Yeah.
That's not just content for the internet, and it's going to be showing in front of people. So I'll be putting that
amazing.
up on my page after it premieres at Texas Frightmare Weekend.
Very cool, man. Well, we'll definitely check that out, and we'll provide links to that in the show notes. So be sure to check out Papanaut, man. Again, thank you so much for being a part of this. This has been amazing, and we'll catch you guys next time.
All right, dude. There's Sprang.
Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to jump over to our website, moviestomakeyoupodcast.com, see all of our links. Follow us on Instagram so you never miss an episode, a live stream, or an interview. And until next time, keep watching movies.